In a world full of gods, aliens, and superhumans, one character stands out as truly unique. Groot has won the hearts of fans all across the world with his towering stature, friendly demeanor, and limited vocabulary.
This is a friend of mine, Tree.
I am Groot!
I am Steve Rogers.
However, there is much more to this endearing character than meets the eye. We'll look at Groot's interesting biography, from his humble origins as a sapling to his ascension as a hero and guardian of the galaxy. In this video, we'll look at his mysterious abilities, his unusual physiology, and the strong emotional bond he has with his fellow guardians. So sit back, relax, and prepare to uncover the secrets of one of Marvel's most beloved characters. Or as Groot likes to say it, I am Groot. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. What is Groot's original species, and what is his body composed of? Groot belongs to the Flora Colossi, a race of tree-like creatures hailing from Planet X, the hub of the Branch Worlds. But what sets these beings apart is their advanced education system, led by the Arbor Masters, who impart photonic knowledge to their young. This accumulated wisdom passed down from generation to generation is absorbed through photosynthesis, producing geniuses among the Flora Colossi. This extraterrestrial tree-like creature's body is made entirely of dendronic wood, which grants him extraordinary powers. Not only is he virtually invulnerable to most forms of attack, but he can also manipulate plant life with ease, absorbing it into his body to increase his strength. And that's not all. With a flick of his wrist, Groot can extend his limbs and shoot vines at his enemies, ensnaring them in a deadly embrace. And don't let this giant fool you. Groot is actually one of the cleverest members of the Guardians, with a keen intellect that belies his formidable size. But perhaps his most impressive ability is his incredible regenerative powers. As long as even a single twig or leaf remains, Groot can regenerate his entire body from scratch. Now imagine a towering 125-foot beast raging through the city, leaving destruction in its wake. Sounds like Godzilla, right? But what if I told you it's just Groot, who started out as a rampaging beast that gave superheroes a run for their money. For over 4 decades, he was a force to be reckoned with in the comic book universe, feared and avoided by all who crossed his path. But as time went on, things changed as comics came to life in the MCU, and Groot was introduced with a new purpose: protecting and serving the greater good. Despite his dark past, Groot has become one of the most beloved members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And while he may not look like your typical superhero, his towering presence and menacing appearance only add to his appeal. Groot's distinctiveness is evident from his early life back at home. From a young sapling, Groot had a sense of duty to protect the rights of the downtrodden. He dedicated himself to advocating for the undergrowth, a group of anthropomorphic animals and fungi who performed crucial tasks on Planet X's intricate ecosystem. But not everyone was on board with Groot's noble campaign. In fact, many of his own kind saw him as a renegade and a troublemaker. Eventually, he was forced to leave his homeworld behind in search of a new purpose and a new cause to master.
I am Groot.
Is Groot the last of his species? Throughout the Marvel Universe, there has been much debate about Groot's origins and the fate of his kind. Some sources claim that he is the last remaining member of the Flora Colossi, while others suggest that his people were wiped out by Ronan the Accuser. However, recent developments in both the MCU and the 2020 Guardians of the Galaxy comics have left fans wondering whether Groot may actually belong to a different tree species altogether, the Kodatai, leading to much speculation about the future of his character and the potential for new storylines to be explored. Another noteworthy hint comes from Avengers Infinity War, which left fans devastated when Groot met his untimely demise as a result of the snap. However, some keen-eyed fans have suggested that this tragic event may actually hold a clue about Groot's origins. After all, Thanos' goal was to reduce the population of all species by half, which means that if Groot were truly the last of his kind, he would have been one of the lucky ones to survive. Of course, this theory is purely hypothetical, and there's no concrete evidence to support it. Nevertheless, it's interesting to consider the possibility that Groot's fate may be tied to a larger narrative about the balance of life in the Marvel Universe. Whether he is truly the last of his kind or not, there's no denying that Groot's unique abilities and endearing personality had made him a fan favorite across the world. So let's keep our fingers crossed for more Groot in the future.
Why does it look like a bomb went off in here?
I am Groot.
A bomb did go off!
How can he change the shape of his body? Groot is not your average humanoid. As a part of an alien race of trees, he possesses a wide range of abilities that we can only dream of. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the tree in the room. Groot has been killed 3 times, but has bounced back each time from a sprig. Talk about resilience. Maybe that's why he's always in such good spirits. He knows he can always grow back. But it's not just about bouncing back from the dead. Groot can grow at a super fast speed, from a sprig to his normal size or even to a giant form, and when it comes to tasks, he can reshape his limbs into just about anything, from a dense tangle of branches to individual limbs that stretch like Mr. Fantastic. And let's not forget about his superhuman strength. He once overpowered Armadillo, and trust me, that's no easy feat. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Groot seems to have a bit of a dark side. He can snap off his own parts, using them as weapons and stretching them as needed. Remember, while forging the Stormbreaker, Groot gave up his arm to make its handle. Does it heal, or do they just grow back? Who knows? And how much can he actually grow? I mean, can he grow into a skyscraper or something? It's all a mystery. And is this why baby Groot felt okay stealing a human toe? Maybe he thought it would just grow back.
I am Groot.
That's right.
I am Groot.
No! No, that's the button that will kill everyone!
How intelligent is Groot? Groot may not be able to hold a conversation like a human, but don't let his silence fool you. As a member of the Flora Colossi, he's actually part of one of the smartest races in the galaxy. They share photonic knowledge through photosynthesis and passes it down through Arbor Masters. Groot is even smarter than the average Flora Colossi. He's so smart that he helped Maximus the Mad come up with a way to unmake reality. Talk about impressive. In fact, Groot is supposedly a descendant of an ancient ennobled sap line and is addressed as Monarch of Planet X, His Divine Majesty King Groot the 23rd, custodian of the branch worlds. He received top-notch education from the most gifted Arbor Masters, making him a genius in quasi-dimensional superpositional engineering. Regardless of his royal status, there's no denying that he's one smart tree. So the next time you may see a potted plant, just remember that it might be smarter than you. Groot may look like your average beefy, muscle-bound tree man, but don't let his appearances deceive you. Underneath that tough exterior is a brilliant mind that rivals even the greatest human geniuses. The thing is, Groot is a modest tree, so he doesn't always make a show of his intelligence. He's happy to let others underestimate him and think of him as a simpleton who says, "I am Groot," all the time, but when the going gets tough, that's when he busts out his impressive intellectual chops. It's like the old saying that goes, "Still waters run deep." And in Groot's case, those still waters are made of sap.
He thinks you want him to wear it as a hat.
That's not what I said.
I am Groot.
He's relieved you don't want him to.
What's the deal with his restricted speech? It's easy to dismiss Groot as a simpleton, but with his limited vocabulary of just 3 words. But don't be fooled, this humanoid tree has plenty to say. Sure, everything that comes out of his mouth sounds like "I am Groot," but it's not totally his fault that he's got a stiff, hardened larynx. In fact, Groot is quite the expressive conversationalist. Just ask Rocket, the talking squirrel, who seems to understand him perfectly. Or better yet, ask Vin Diesel, the actor who voices Groot and manages to convey a whole range of emotions with just those 3 words. And let's not forget that time Jean Grey telepathically read Groot's thoughts, and we all got a glimpse into his inner dialogue. Okay, so it wasn't the most thrilling read. Trees aren't exactly known for their riveting monologues, but it's the thought that counts. Besides, who needs words when you have nuanced inflections and expressive body language? Not Groot, that's for sure. However, Groot might seem like a one-trick pony with his "I am Groot" catchphrase, but as it turns out, not everyone is left scratching their heads in confusion when he talks. The mighty Thor, for instance, manages to understand Groot right off the bat, which is more than most of us can say for trying to decipher the lyrics to a Pitbull song. In the latest installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy, everyone except Gamora seems to have learned Groot's unique dialect, and by the end of the film, even she's on board. That's when Groot drops a bombshell on us and speaks English for the first time in the MCU, telling the team, "I love you guys." There are a couple of theories as to why this happened, but one seems more plausible than the other. Some think that James Gunn just wanted to give us a break from hearing "I I Am Groot for a change. Others believe that by having Groot speak English, Gunn is pulling back the curtain and inviting us to be part of the team. It's like Groot is saying, you guys are part of this too, which makes the scene all the more heartwarming. With Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 being the final chapter in the trilogy, the moment is even more touching. So it turns out Groot has been holding out on us this whole time. In the comics, he used to be a chatty villain who spoke fluent English, but then he became a hero and his vocabulary was reduced to the ever-famous I Am Groot. However, in a recent comic series, Infinity Countdown, Groot was revived as a child and able to battle in English. Though he still referred to himself in the third person like some kind of eccentric celebrity. Could this mean that Groot was holding out on us in the movies too? And that he's been silently judging us all this time with his English fluency?
I am Groot.
Can Groot reproduce? We already know that he's invincible with the ability to regrow his entire body from a twig. Talk about a party trick, but Groot's got more up his wooden sleeve than just regeneration. As a Flora Colossus, he's got complete control over his body, able to whip his limbs around or grow some sweet foliage for protection. And let's not forget about those bioluminescent seeds he can just release. Handy for navigating dark spaces, but what about Baby Groot? Well, he's not just cute and adorable, he's the result of good old-fashioned plant cloning, also known as vegetative propagation. That's right, plants retain their stem cells throughout their lives, so creating a genetic clone is as easy as watering a plant. And when Baby Groot is ready, he'll start growing at a rapid pace, thanks to his regeneration powers. Before you know it, he'll be a full-grown, proud Flora Colossus, introducing himself with that iconic phrase, I am Groot. Another important and lesser-known point to note is despite his entire species being massacred, there is still hope that Groot can restore his race through the world pod that resides within him.
I am Groot. I am Groot.
How fast does Groot grow? It's a mystery that's confounded even the most ardent Guardians of the Galaxy fans. How did Groot go from a cute little twig to a surly teenager, and from a teenager to an adult Groot so quickly? Did he hit a growth spurt or discover a Groot-sized bottle of Miracle Grow? Unfortunately, the comics don't provide much insight into Groot's life cycle, so we're left to speculate maybe he's like a tree in a time-lapse video, growing at an accelerated pace to keep up with the demands of the franchise. Or maybe his alien genes give him a growth spurt that puts human teenagers to shame. Whatever the case, it's clear that Groot's life cycle is a bit of a mystery, although according to writer-director James Gunn, it took him a decent chunk of time to go from Baby Groot to adolescent Groot. How much time, you ask? Well, Gunn isn't spilling the beans, but he does reveal that the post-credit scene with adolescent Groot and Peter Quill takes place years after the ending of Volume 2. So while Groot may have sprouted up seemingly overnight, it's clear that his growth spurt was a slow burn. Can Groot be killed, or is his species immortal? Yes, Groot can be killed, depending on the comic book storyline you're reading. Let's face it, Groot is not invincible. Despite being part of a species that has been declared extinct several times, Groot has been knocked down a few times himself. But don't worry, he is a tough little tree. In fact, he's proven himself to be incredibly resilient, bouncing back to life after being effectively destroyed and replanted several times. It's like he's got the ultimate green thumb, or rather green whole body. And let's not forget Rocket Raccoon knows the secret of Groot's replanting, which is probably why they make such a great team. But here's the catch. When Groot is replanted, he starts his entire life cycle again. That's right, he goes from seedling to adolescent to adult all over again. And it seems like his memory might take a hit too, as he doesn't seem to remember anything from his previous life. Poor Groot. It's like he has to hit the reset button every time, and as if being replanted and regrowing wasn't enough of a challenge, Groot also fell victim to the Mad Titan snap, which wiped out half of all life in the Marvel Universe. So it's safe to say that there are probably other Flora Colossi out there waiting to be discovered. Could termites prove to be his nemesis? Groot is a marvel of nature and has some pretty impressive powers that are yet to be fully explored in both the comics and the MCU. But did you know that his ultimate nemesis is not some galactic tyrant or interdimensional monster, but a lowly biologist named Leslie Evans? Yes, you heard it right, this scientist created a breed of termites specifically designed to destroy Groot. And while it's suspected that regular bugs would not pose a threat to the Flora Colossus, it's still quite amusing to think that one of the most beloved figures in the Marvel Universe could be brought down by a swarm of tiny insects. In conclusion, Groot is a distinctive and beloved character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and comic books, thanks to his fascinating abilities and heartwarming personality. From his ability to grow his body to his resilient nature, Groot has proven to be a force to be reckoned with. Although he may have his weaknesses, such as the infamous Leslie Evans and her termite army, Groot has managed to overcome countless challenges and endear himself to fans of all ages. As the MCU continues to expand, it will be exciting to see how Groot's story unfolds and what new powers and abilities he may showcase. Whether he's dancing to classic tunes or fighting alongside his fellow Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot has undoubtedly become a true icon of the Marvel Universe. If you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.